On February 28, 2026, a coordinated military operation by the United States and Israel struck multiple strategic locations across Iran. The operation targeted Iranian military infrastructure, missile sites, intelligence facilities, and leadership compounds. Among the most significant reported outcomes was the death of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who had ruled Iran since 1989 and exercised supreme control over the country's politics, military, and religious institutions. This unprecedented event has created a major power vacuum and elevated tensions across the Middle East. Other senior Iranian officials, including commanders of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps (IRGC) and high-ranking security advisors, were reportedly killed during the strikes. The Iranian government declared periods of national mourning, and the event marked one of the most dramatic escalations in the region in decades. Iran's retaliation: missiles and drone strikes. Within hours of the strikes, Iran launched a wave of missile and drone attacks aimed at Israel, prompting nationwide alerts and activation of air raid sirens. U.S. military bases in Gulf states, including Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, and others. Cities in the Gulf region, including targets in the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. Iran framed the attacks as a direct response to what it called a crime against the nation and a breach of international law. Ballistic missiles and combat drones were launched, with the intent of both striking military installations and sending a symbolic message of retaliation. Interceptions and damage. Advanced air defense systems in Israel, the Gulf states, and U.S. bases intercepted most of the incoming missiles. Debris from intercepted missiles caused localized fires and some collateral damage. Civilian casualties have been reported, including at least one confirmed death in the UAE due to falling debris. In Israel, civil defense authorities issued warnings to residents, while emergency services prepared for potential casualties. The exchanges created panic and heightened fears of an expanded regional war, with both populations and militaries on high alert. Regional and global responses. Diplomatic reactions. Countries around the world expressed deep concern, warning that the conflict could escalate into a broader regional war and disrupt global energy markets. The United Nations convened emergency discussions to address the crisis, with appeals for restraint and protection of civilians. U.S. and Israeli stance. The U.S. and Israel defended their initial strikes as a defensive measure against Iran's missile programs and potential nuclear ambitions. Both nations signaled readiness to respond to further Iranian aggression with severe consequences. Humanitarian toll. The death toll from the initial strikes and subsequent Iranian retaliation is rising, with hundreds reported killed or injured in Iran. Civilian infrastructure, including schools and hospitals, has suffered damage. Displacement and medical resource shortages are being reported in affected areas. International organizations have raised alarms over civilian casualties and urged both sides to adhere to humanitarian law. Political and security implications. Leadership crisis in Iran. The death of Khamenei and other senior officials has left a leadership vacuum. Iran's constitutional process requires a temporary council to govern until a new supreme leader is selected, but the situation is complicated by ongoing attacks and uncertainty about succession. Expanded military engagement. U.S. forces are actively defending Gulf bases. Israel remains on high alert, preparing for additional attacks. Gulf Arab states are adjusting defense measures and participating in interception efforts. Global energy and security impact. The Gulf region is a critical hub for global oil exports. Any escalation near the Strait of Hormuz could disrupt shipping and spike energy prices worldwide, affecting economies far beyond the region. Geopolitical realignment. Major powers like Russia and China may increase support for Iran diplomatically or militarily. Western countries are split between calls for de-escalation and supporting defense measures. Regional powers, including Saudi Arabia and the UAE, are recalibrating their defense and foreign policies. What comes next? Key questions moving forward include: will Iran continue its missile and drone attacks? Can diplomatic channels succeed in preventing a full-scale war? How will global powers intervene to mediate the crisis? What will happen inside Iran as leadership succession unfolds amid conflict? Experts warn that the situation could lead to prolonged instability, making diplomatic engagement and humanitarian protection critical to prevent catastrophe. Iran launched extensive missile attacks against Israel and Gulf states following a U.S.-Israeli strike that reportedly killed Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The strikes in retaliation have created a volatile and rapidly evolving situation with serious humanitarian, geopolitical, and security consequences. The conflict threatens to destabilize the broader Middle East, disrupt global energy markets, and spark wider international involvement.